for doing this. I'm so grateful. So as you know, we are getting ready for the 5-day boot camp. And you have been so awesome always to inspire me as a mentor, as a friend, as an expert in the industry, to let us all know that we can connect and work with the people we love, right? I mean, you have been number one, really teaching that across the board. Obviously, I know you through the accounting industry, but you've always taught everyone in your community that we really want to work with the people that light us up, and that we have a strategy that we can actually try to learn from people like you, so that way we can start building businesses that light us up and that we're excited about and that we are super passionate about. So first, I want to thank you for being here. Before I start digging into your brain, you want to introduce yourself?
Introduce myself. My name is Misty Megia. I am the CEO of Misty Megia. No, I recently just left. Actually, it's been 9 months. It's crazy. I left Intuit, where I was the global head of the ProAdvisor program and education strategy. And before that, I was at T-Sheets, heading up their accountant division. And before that, the VP at CPA Academy, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things that I have honed over the years is really understanding customers and how to draw the right people to you, which we're going to share today. But I left my corporate gig to actually start my third entrepreneurial business, dive into the business world for myself. And I am now teaching high achieving women how to do public speaking. And that is from the boardroom to the keynote stage. So on a mission, get all these women some voices.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I'm so glad you shared that, because I think we get scared, or comfortable, or a combination of both, when we know that maybe there's another thing or another place or another role that's calling us. I know that you have been brave about that. That's why you're kind of sharing different things you did, but entrepreneurial world is probably the scariest but bravest leap that we sometimes come in and out of. And the fact that you're doing this a third time, like, wow. That's amazing. And I know you personally, so I do want to share that I've seen you light up over these 9 months. I think that's why you were even shocked that it's only been 9 months, because it's like a whole new world again, right? And that's what I want to just bring to my community. Again, I'm so grateful just because you've impacted me so deeply in this area, like helping me know that we can fill our cup with the people that are right for us. So that's what I want to talk about with you for a few minutes. And that is our goal for this conversation. All of you, this is a recording because our dear Misty is super busy. But we wanted to give this to you now, so that way you can watch it. And then we're going to dive into her awesome document together in a separate session. So yes. Misty, how do you want to get started?
Well, like you said, it is so important to know that you have the right and the capability to accept those who light you up into your career just as much as you do into your life. And, I just was a client last week, and literally her email to me was, I'm doing the happy dance. That's how excited she is to work with me. And that's equally how excited I am to work with her. And when you find those people that just get you, that 100% get your mission, know that you are authentic and passionate about what you do, you are going to attract the right people, and sometimes the wrong a little bit, but you got to know, is this the right fit for me, in order to say no and allow for space for those right people to get in. So in this 9 months that I've been in, it's been really important for me to say no to a lot of different clients that I could easily dive in and go, oh yeah. And I've had corporations go, hey, can we hire you to like finesse our marketing and help us focus there? And I'm like, that's really, yes, I can. Yeah. But my mission is really to get those women entrepreneurs and leaders getting confident in themselves to be able to step up and present to customers or to investors or to large organizations, whatever it is that they need to find that voice for. And so I could go, oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. And get distracted all day long by some things. But to me, like really knowing what my business is about and knowing who I want to serve, like helps every day. I go in and I go, oh, I get to meet with Mariette today, or I get to meet with so-so today. And it just like, I look at my calendar and there's never a moment where I look at it and go, oh man. That's what we're all trying to avoid, that, oh man.
Yeah. And, I just, before we get into your document, which you're going to go through a little bit, like how we can start pulling that out, like you said, to track who we want to, and maybe repel those that either we don't, or be able to say no, because as you mentioned, like you're on a mission now, like now that you've decided to be intentional and to really focus on the community that you want to serve, like it's easier for you to say no because you know that it doesn't align with where you're at. I think, and I know personally too, being an entrepreneur for several years and wanting to serve all, and little by little, being more targeted, it was harder for me to say no before I was less focused, because I wasn't sure if they were fitting in my mold where I was going. But as soon as you like see enough value in being very like written down, straightforward, focused, true north, like this is who I want to work with, then when the people that you are not fitting that mold come around, it's not as hard to say no. It's always hard to say no, usually when you're a serving person like you and I. Like
Totally.
Trust me, we say no to each other, and it's not easy. Like, look at Misty. How can you say no to Misty? Like, seriously. But we've had to say no to each other because it doesn't fit where we're going, So I appreciate you saying that, because I think the more targeted, the more focused you are on wanting to answer the questions on if this is the right person, then when the right person comes around, you're like, heck yes.
Yeah, you want to equally light up that you get to work together.
Yeah.
And just like, how exciting would that be to like be so stoked about your bookkeeper? Like, wouldn't you love that in your client to be like, oh my gosh, today I get to meet with Mariette. We get to go over my numbers, because none of us like going over our financials.
Exactly.
But if we are totally just enamored and find extreme value, and we know what this meeting is going to be about, it's going to be joyous, even though it might be tough. That's what you want. You want people that don't dread
yes
the financial meeting, that they actually look forward to it because it's you, and because you've got the right person.
I love that. So okay, let's pull it up. We got to show them what we're talking about. We gotta go there. So we're gonna show you this beautiful document. I have to like prelude this to what I asked Misty to do. So Misty, again, she completely offered this opportunity to, and we'll explain at the very end how you're gonna obtain this document, that we can use this for day one, but when I looked at this document, I'll be honest, I was like, okay, please walk me through this, because this is super powerful. But I want to make sure that, again, as Misty and I are both strong about, that they're intentional about how they're going to use this document. So again, thank you, Misty, for walking us through this.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And this is something I've used and honed over the years of working with a variety of different organizations. And that's from green energy to me owning my own video game store to the accountant world. And all of it really just hones in your ideal audience, because what you want to build are things that attract the right people versus, you having to go out and just find them. So it's all about the law of attraction. Who are you trying to attract? Who do you want to work with? And these questions, yes, there are a lot of them. Do you have to ask an ideal client all of them? No, that could be burdensome. But what you want to do is you want to choose some questions from each area outside the demographics, ask them all of those. And then in each area, just choose one or two that you can narrow it down then to like 5 questions, and just ask for somebody's like 30 minutes of their time. And if you don't have a customer that you want to duplicate, like I want this person, if I could clone them and have 20 clients like them, if you don't have that person already in your life, then what you do is you go to somebody that you would love to have as a client. somebody that might already have a bookkeeper or might already have like somebody in their family doing their books, whatever it is, but you just feel drawn to that human being and say, hey, can I have 30 minutes of your time? Because I just want to interview you and ask you some questions about yourself and your business and your life. And then start writing those questions, the answers down. Try to find at least like minimum 5. I try to get 10 because that's where really you start seeing some similarities in all of the answers. The beginning questions, Mariette, do we want to go through the actual?
Yeah, let's go through it. And I think you mentioned a few things that I really want to point out before we go further. And you said it a couple times. So you said, ask those questions, but go through all the demographics. So if we want to just cover what you meant by that, because I could tell that was pretty important. And the other thing, I just need to reiterate what Misty just said. Like before there was documents like this, before Misty was in my life, or people like Misty that have really helped me to like learn this on my own, I did exactly what she said. I would go to people that already have accountants. They were, very successful in business, but I was like, they would be a really good client. They respect me, they value good books, they want to be profitable, they have big goals, they want to talk about their goals. How do I become their bookkeeper? Like that's exactly what Misty said. I did the same thing. I would ask, and these are people I trusted. So I would ask like, how's the conversation go when you talk to your accountant? What does that meeting look like? What do you cover? How far do you go into your goals? Like, are you talking about today, the future? Like I wanted to know why they were so enamored with their service provider. Like that was huge for me. So I'm so glad she mentioned that. I didn't even think about bringing that up actually, Misty, but I did the same thing like, a decade ago when I first started, because I'm like, it's hard for me to really know who I want to work with. But like, if I see that person, like I really enjoy hanging out with them. They seem super successful. They said they have an accountant. So what do they do together?
Yeah. And I think, Mariette, those questions that you're talking about are really phenomenal to help you figure out how to build your services, like what to offer, what to be doing to execute the actual service part of your contracts, right? So that is like a whole different skill set that absolutely I'm sure you'll be covering in this series here, is just really understanding what you should be offering, what kind of packages you should be putting together, and how to execute that for them that makes them happy. Where I think the differentiation for this document all is around your marketing. And really understanding how to, whether you're marketing through social media or through blogs or whatever it is, but understanding how to market. Marketing, what we really try to do is understand who we are right for. Mm-hmm. And that's who we are talking to. We are understanding what their pain points are to see if we are the right fit. Because if you ask somebody like, hey, what are your goals in the next 12 months? And they're like, oh, well, I want to build a brand new website and build an email list. Okay, you're not going to be investing in what I'm doing right now. I'm not the right fit for you, so I'm not going to market towards you, right? And so it's really understanding like who you are the right fit for, and then talking their language and speaking to them because you get them. So the only reason this document is long, I think, is because I give really large boxes for you to fill in your information. I love so really, it's not that daunting.
That's awesome. And by the way, everyone, Misty and I, and several of our colleagues, we love these fillable forms because it's like, you need to get in there and get your hands dirty. Like you actually have to go in there, as Misty said, and she already said it a few times, and actually it's going to be an action item for this day, is actually go and ask, like connect with those people and ask these questions and fill this out. If not, it's a beautiful document, but you can't get anything out of it. You're not being intentional with the document if you don't take action on it.
This type of document, I actually have to handwrite the answers. And that's just because that connection between actually physically writing something down will sink in better for me to remember versus me typing it passively.
Got it.
So it's up to you on whatever's easiest for you guys, obviously.
Perfect.
Use this document as you see fit. How would you describe yourself? like, I really want to say that every question on here I geek out about because it's so intentional on why it's on there, and the how you describe yourself. And I'm not going to go through every question because you guys will like fall asleep, but I'll go through a couple.
Because she really will geek out on every single one.
I really would. And I would tell you how you could use it. And I'm actually writing a book, and all of that will be in the book. But how would you best describe yourself? This question alone can give you copy when you are doing like story brand marketing, which is all about making your customer the hero or your prospect the hero of their own journey, right?
Yes.
How would you best describe yourself? Those are all of the words that you're going to use to write. Like, really lift these out of your document and put them on your website. Do you feel like they go, oh, I am a businesswoman, I'm a leader, I am a mompreneur, I am, whatever it is. Then it becomes the question on your site. Do you find yourself overwhelmed trying to balance the mompreneur life? And all of a sudden you're using their language, right? Yeah. Of like, oh, that's me. Oh, that's me too. Oh, that's me too. Like, she gets me.
Completely. And let me just tell you, Misty just gave you gold right now. Like, literally what you just said right now, that is exactly how you create your brand message, which she brought up the story brand, which is going to be one of your resources for this day. But how you literally create, like where you get the message from. Then she said copy, which is actually what you're going to write on your website or on your post. And then you post it out there, literally using the words, the phrases, the commentary, the responses you get from the people you're trying to attract. Like it is really like that. You ask the questions, they blow you away. Some people will give you so much of themselves on this question because we all love to describe ourselves usually, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I literally now have everything I need for my website. So I just want you all to know what Misty just said is exactly how so many of us are able to go from here, fill out our personal profiles, our social media profiles, our websites is exactly the strategy Misty just mentioned. That was literally the strategy that I've taken and so many of our colleagues have taken. So I just wanted to point that out. Like that was huge what you just said.
What are your goals? If I had to pick a couple other questions out of here that like are definitely something that I want on there is your goals and objectives personally, especially for small businesses. Like are they wanting to release their business and spend more time with their family? Are they like all of their different goals and objectives for themselves? I want to travel. Okay, you're going to want to travel, which means you need to save this much money. I want to send my kids to college. I want to be the one that affords that. Those are little clues on like goals that you can set for their business when you're working with them as a bookkeeper, right? You're going to know what they need to do. But also, again, that's the content that you're going to use in blog articles. Like if you have a large group of people saying, I want to save money so I can send my kids to college, then great. Give them tips in a blog article about, hey, are you saving as a mompreneur? You're saving for your kids to go to a 4-year or trade school or whatever it is. Like, here's 3 tips to help you succeed in this goal. Yeah. And it just starts developing like little pieces of content that you can start creating for whatever area that you're going to post in.
I just want to point out like right here. So this is separated. This document is separated by categories or sections. And those are the ones in the pink, right? So they know like what's the next thing and what's the next thing. Okay, good.
Yeah. And each area is, just to give yourself a little bit of breakup of like, oh, hey, what are the differences between these questions?
Right.
And so really just making sure that you have a couple in each area is why I separated that. So you get more content in a variety of different capacities to connect with your audience.
So just a couple things that when you're talking about it, I think it's really important. I know you mentioned a few times, I'm going to go with the 10 people at least, especially, if you're starting out or if you're not starting out, but you've just been struggling to connect with the ideal people that light you up, that are, that you're wanting to attract. The more people that you test this on, I would think that the closer you're going to get to the people you want to work with, right? So I'm feeling like we should stick with the 10 and not give him 5. Like, I don't know. You know me, I'm a little tough love, so you may have to control me because I'm like,
But it's okay.
I get there faster.
What? No, I did this myself. I 100% did this myself as soon as I started my own business, even though I've been using this for years in other businesses. It was a new shift and change into what I was offering and the services I was offering. And I just asked for multiple people's time on my calendar, just to say, hey, can I just chat with you? And yes, it takes time. You know, it's like 5 hours, right? If you do 10 people for 30 minutes, they are never 30 minutes.
Yeah.
At least with me, like I just want to know more and more and more. But it helped me figure out my pricing. It helped me figure out what their pain points were. It helped me understand things that I didn't like, that I thought I knew, confirm or adjust my change of thought. So this will always be evolving. You will, if you haven't already defined your ideal client, you will define it once. And then you'll notice as you go along in your business, it'll start focusing in. And it's almost like getting those binoculars and just refocusing and refocusing and refocusing until you find that absolute person. But you at least have to start that focus in order to get there. So I only do it once a year. And like to just kind of do a gut check for Intuit, we had a every presentation, which we did weekly presentations on like new features we wanted to do, or things that were coming up. Every single presentation is grounded with the second slide being, here's our customer personas. So it recalibrates our entire team on who we are serving and why, and the problems we are trying to solve. So once you figure out all those commonalities in your ideal client, make that slide so you're really focused on who that is and put that somewhere, anywhere close to you, so you can just remember, that's who I'm serving. That's who I'm serving. And it'll help you in that yes, no. Do they fit the client that I want? Is it changing? Yeah. Can I add them in because it is changing?
But what I wanted to actually ask you, and I think you already answered it, is like, what would you say a simple strategy would be from taking this questionnaire, let's say they did it with 10 people, and then actually building out that one slide you were mentioning? Like, what does that look like for you?
So you gather those 10 questionnaires, whether it's digitally or in person. It's easier in person. And you start highlighting the commonalities. And as soon as you see those commonalities, I do make a slide because I'm a geeky. So I'll do a Google slide. I have, because I was in the accounting at developers and companies that targeted accountants, we did have Betty the bookkeeper and Tom the technician, and we we created names for them, and we chose a picture of who they were just to have an image in mind, and then we put all of their answers, the common answers that we saw. Here we started with who they were, like what their name and titles were. Then we went to what their challenges are, the obstacles, and then we put that we serve, we actually solve, because we don't solve all their problems, the ones that we solve. Right. The problems that we solve are the problems that they have that we know we can solve, and why that's a problem for them. And then underneath that, we would write like the different areas where we would want to meet them and create articles for. So we would have like columns with different questions in each category. And so it's like, okay, how can we solve those problems? Where can we meet her? What kind of articles can we do? What kind of research can we create in order to serve this person effectively? Now for bookkeeping, it's going to be totally different. It's going to be,
of course, because you're solving pain points around their finances, around their taxes, around even, like you said, their financial goals, around taking a vacation, being able to financially take a vacation. But it's still, I love what you said about kind of almost saying, okay, so how are we going to solve each of those pain points, kind of lining those up, and now let's create content around solving each one of those pain points. Going back to your copy, like that's what you can put on your website, put on your social posts. So the questions you could ask that Facebook group you were mentioning. So I love that. Oh, so good. So we're going to just close on two important things. Of course, we're going to close with Misty letting us know how we're going to get this amazing thing. But before that, I wanted to just share one last thing. I mean, again, knowing, you know, all they're going to go through over the next few days, but you knew, because I personally told you how important it was to start with them knowing that they can connect with these people and just really feel, you know, joy and enamored and excited every day when they work with the people they love. Like, what do you want to leave them with about that?
I'd say let's leave how we started and just know that it's your choice. You know, I think a lot of businesses unfortunately get into that mindset of scarcity of, if I don't say yes to this job, I'm not going to have enough income to support my family, support my business, whatever it is. And honestly, it's been, you know, that 9 months that we discussed, and I've met my financial goals for the year, but that's because I've said no to very specific things that I knew would, like, oh, well, that would have been like paying me for 2 months time and less. But honestly, I would have not been as happy. And so really allowing yourself to say no, and know in your heart that the right client is going to come along, but they won't come along if you don't have space for them, right? They might just pass you by because you're not out there going, hey, I'm the right fit for you. And so you got to allow that space and just believe that they are going to find you. You are absolutely brilliant. There is nobody like you out there. And taking that time to really define who it is that just makes you go,
yeah, exactly. The email.
Unless you like call my clients, which is fine.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, Misty. Oh my gosh. So thank you for this time, of course. And most importantly, how can they first get this document? And more importantly, if one of these people watching this is the right fit for you, how can they learn more about you?
For me, the ideal customer interview is at idealcustomer.mistymegia.com, and I'm sure you'll give them that direct link, so you don't have to memorize.
It'll be on the video, by the way.
Oh, right. Should I do right here? or here, wherever you put it. all of that. So download it. It does get you onto my mailing list. You can opt out at any time if it's not the right fit for you. Right now, the only thing I send in emails are tips on public speaking. And I think everybody can always improve that skill set. I think it's just like anything, as you are accountant or bookkeeper, you are constantly on that mission to gain more information. There is always a moment where you should be presenting to your client because people learn in different ways. And so hopefully you're giving them a variety of different ways to consume what you're talking about. The right fit for me, as I mentioned, I left to serve females, and that was because we had an event, like a couple events, and 400 speaker submissions, 30 were female and 2 were people of color. And so I left to help them gain the confidence because they already had the intelligence to be speaking. So I just wanted to give them the confidence and the skills and the tools that they needed to step up and share their voice. And so if you are on a mission to broaden your presence amongst, whether that's prospects by doing webinars or public speaking at conferences or anything like that, then please let me know. You can find me at mistymegia.com, and I'm happy to talk with anyone that Marriott knows and just help out in any way I can to get you knowing how fabulous you are.
So amazing. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, everyone that watched this, and we'll see you in the boot camp. Bye for now.